Right then, hello everyone, and welcome back to FTRL for the first night of GT1 in season 29. We are round Spa again for the first race, like GT2 was last night, and I am back on comms for the first time in a good few years. Let me know if the volume sounds alright in the chat between the game and me. If the game's too loud, I can just double check for me. If you're in the chat at the moment, just so I know roughly where we are in terms of volume. Right, so run you through the teams very quickly. It is the Nations Cup, so they are in kind of the colours of the countries that they are part of. So it should be fairly easy to know who is who in terms of what country. Just a very quick recap then. We've got Japan, you've got Lee, you have Frome, who is not racing this evening. Frome is L, I believe, so it is Carl that's place for him. Then you have Grumpy, who is also part of Japan. So they are in the Nissa. Then you have the German contingent, which is Aaron, Will and Biggles. They are in the Audi, as you know, Audi German company, and the yellow, red and black of the flag as well, so nice and easy. France, you have Tom, SPY and Unsafe, who is being replaced, I believe, is it by Andy? Is it Andy who's... Yeah, Andy who's with France as well. Yeah, there you go. And they're in the Peugeot as well. So the RC Vet. Then you've got Italy. So my teammates for GT1. You've got Ross, Graham, and then you've also got Fiba. They are all in the Lamborghini. Last but not least, then you've got the USA, which are in the Dodge. You've got Pagani, Blue Flag, Simon, and then you've also got Tom Duval. Unsafe, yeah, I forgot about that. Unsafe is now in GT2. He got replaced by Biggles last night, and then also Andy's now in GT1. So that's what happened. Yeah, so that's very slightly wrong on the standings, not standings, the gate. But all sorted with that. So 10-minute quali coming up in a few seconds' time. I believe the wind direction is similar to last night. I don't think it's quite as strong. Last night was about 5 going. It was a headwind going up the Camel Straight. So similar probably in terms of wind direction. I think, if I remember right, it was a 19 something. It was pole last night. The fastest time of the race was like an 18.9 for the sprint. So I'd imagine pole's going to be somewhere around, you might be in the 18 mark, possibly, for pole this evening, for the first race. 9 laps, sprint, no fuel depletion, and 1 times tyre wear, so no tyre wear really to be concerned about. And then obviously the longer race, the 24 lap race, about 50 minutes long. That's when the strategies come into play. There was a range last night. There was people doing 888. There was 68, 699. There was 41010. There was there should be a range of different strategies on the second race. The wind direction is actually about 5 boxes. That's very similar to last night at the start. Good evening, everyone in the chat. Make sure you like the stream. So yeah, it should be probably around the low 19s or in the 18s, I'd imagine, for pole this evening. Around about that time. So kind of on board with the RCZ. Well, yesterday it was, I would say, the cars, to be honest, the cars were quite even-ish over the kind of the races. Biggles won the second race last night. He did get half points though because he was reserving. However, he was in the Audi, so the Audi last night. The Lambo was fairly nice around here as well, to be honest. And I think also Carl was in the Nissan. The Nissan obviously performed well. Carl did really well as well last night. So in all honesty, I don't think there was a huge difference. I mean, I know Jonesy did well in the second race. No, he didn't do quite as well in the first race, but even in the Dodge he did well. So to be honest, I actually don't think there was a massive difference pace-wise between the cars. Strategy-wise, there was a difference. Obviously, the Dodge struggles to get 8 laps. To be honest, they actually kind of need to save a tiny bit to get 8 laps. Whereas, for example, Biggles in the Audi and me in the Lambo was quite comfortably, with about fuel saving, managed to get 10 laps. So I think it's fuel that's the differential, really, in terms of the cars, more than tyre wear as well. I don't think there was a massive issue with tyre wear either. So we'll go. Let's watch Pagani's first lap back at GT1 for a while. He's not been away for a little bit. So Pagani, he is in the America Trump's team. The Dodge into La Source. Fairly nice on the power, nice and early. Heading up towards Radion and Eau Rouge. Obviously, you do have a headwind in here, so Eau Rouge and Radion and all that should be quite straightforward. Shouldn't be any issues at all. Should be easily flat out as it always is now. But as I say, that headwind make it nice and easy. You will feel it down this straight though, and you'll not get anywhere near. You can see kind of Pagani's getting to the 156, 157 there, just touching 157, 158 possibly at the end. If the wind was a tailwind, he would be into well over 160. So that kind of shows you the difference the wind makes around Spa. Pagani then into the sector 1, he's into sector 2 now. Long sweeping corner this one, and then she head towards No Name. I think No Name actually now has a name though. Tricky corner that one, downhill, and then heading round to Pouon, which is probably the trickiest corner on this track. I'd say this one is definitely not flat out in the GT3 cars. You do need to lift, and then get power on as early as you can. Don't run too wide. You don't want on that curb on the outside, and then you end up miles off the track and ruins your lap. You can pick up a penalty as well. Penalties can be a factor around here. Just need to be careful. Eau Rouge Radion is where you can pick them up. Also round the exit of the kind of first chicane after Gamma Straight as well. Pagani 143.6 for the first 2 sectors. Someone's got a penalty ahead. Pagani is absolutely miles off track, and that has ruined that lap. So let's go on the SBY to the end of his lap as he comes round now around Francorchamps, and then in towards the bus stop he goes. This is I was about to say it is flat out, but SBI actually did do a lift. I don't think he really needed a lift. Lee, there we go, straight into the 18s. 218.9 even. T Smith, 220.1, so definitely room for improvement for Tom. There, SBY a little bit squirrely on the power, but straightforward, and he's into the 19s, 19.9. But Lee very comfortably into current pole position. Obviously, he is. GTR has always been Lee's car, so do expect him to be strong this season as well. He was racing, I think. He's kind of kept up with GT, whereas some other people are kind of coming back to GT. T Smith, I say he's just in the low 20s. You got Well in the low 20s, Ross low 20s, Fever low 20s in the Lambo, in the Audi of Biggles. Now, Biggles came to kind of strengthen the second race rather than the first race. Andy into the 20.4 there, Andy also in the RCZ. RCZ's good at turning, not the quickest on the straights. That's kind of its strength, so it'll struggle down the straights, but quick through the corners. Bengals 20.5, 25.5 also for Paul. Last night, Graham 20.9 the Lambo. I think Graham's had a bit tricky, found it quite tricky around here so far this week, what he's been saying. Not finding it the easiest around here. So we'll watch the rest of this lap. Still less than 4 minutes left, so still time for a couple more laps for all of them. Graham comes round Pouon, trying it on the power as early as you can. So don't right though. And you kind of want to lift off here, can keep this in third or second, up to you. Nice on the inside, and then open up this corner. There you go, into the end of sector 2, 143.5. That's comfortable, a 2 temp improvement. So we need a little bit more in this last sector. Unsafe saying that the Lamb was a bit of a tire. So I actually didn't notice that particularly. I mean, I know my tire was more evident last night, but I think that was because I'd done more laps than everyone else other than Biggles. But I honestly don't think it's that bad. I mean, I know it's not quite as good as some of the other cars, but so that my tire was that big a concern. Fever 19.6, that's much better for Fever, up to P2. Graham, not the cleanest through the bus stop, however, it is a very decent time, 20.1. Ross is miles up there on his time as well, 19.7, and he's now into his second last lap, not the lap, and he is now directly behind Biggles as Carl enters the 19.8s. That's kind of roughly where he was last night as well in the quali. However, on the race he did do an 18.9. I know that was kind of benefiting my slipstream a little bit, but I think Carl can probably go quicker than the 19.8. Now Pagani is still in a bit of a nightmare. As Andy does a very big improvement, up to 19.5, and that is a very good time from Andy. That is very nice indeed. But back end sliding on the exit there. Now the wind is decreasing as this quali goes along, so that could probably help a little bit. The time seems to get towards the end, and as well, tires obviously a little bit as well. So other benefits. So Fever around the No Name, heading towards Puon now. Aaron's directly in front of Fever, and he's on a 19.6. He's directly behind Fever in terms of the times. Fever might want to think about backing off soon here if he wants another lap in. It's because as much as you get a benefit from being close in terms of a tow, it's not great around this middle sector because you end up in someone else's dirty air, which is not pleasant. Sector. Carl around Puon as well. Must be why he's coming around to the end of sector 2 now. You see he's got improvement, which is not an improvement at the moment. It's 10 down. Blue flag, no, sorry, not blue flag. Carl even in P6. Blue flag's directly behind. That's what I mentioned now. Carl P6 at the moment, and he is up by a 1/10.5 on his current time, so that could put him in the ballpark for a top 2 or 3 here at the moment, and especially if he gets this nice slipstream all the way around this last sector. Now how's he going to take this last sector? He's going to take it flat out, and he keeps it inbound as well, so this could be a very competitive time. He may get held up a little during this bus stop though. He's got Tom Duval right behind him. However, Tom Duval actually gets nicely out of his way, and Carl has a nice easy run for the last corner. Is this going to be an improvement? No, it's not. He does lose time in that bus stop being directly behind, so there you go. Well, 19.7. You got Tom, who has ruined his final lap with a penalty, so he's going to be stuck on a 19.6. You've got Fever, who's currently on his last lap. He's on a 19.6 at the moment. Pagani finally gets a lap in, 20.6. Andy with a 10th improvement up to 19.4. That's enough for P3, as Aaron's already improved up to P2. Fever has basically matched his first sector time from the last lap, so he needs a tiny improvement to move up a place or 2. Lee's still miles out in front, and no one has got close to him. Guys down the back end haven't got another lap in, so we've got Aaron, who's 19.3. He needs a big improvement though to usurp Lee, so that's, I think, 4-time improvement's unlikely. I say Lee loves the Nissan, so it's not a big surprise he's that far in front, to be honest. He loves that Nissan. I was expecting him in front, but maybe the fact he's 4 tenths is that a surprise, to be honest. I don't expect him to go that far. Yeah, he is. I mean, I hope everyone on stream caught that Aaron just jumped 10 metres in the air as he bunny hopped over that. That was an interesting watch. Marginally down. Fever. Don't really know where Fever is. Ross. Carl, who we know is quick, he is. Yeah, Carl's out of it. Right, okay, so last people coming around the corner. Graham then coming into the bus stop for his final effort. Oh, that's deep again. That is deep. That's not where you really want to be. 19.6 for SBY. Graham was a bit all over the shop there. I don't know if that's going to be an improvement. It is a very marginal improvement, but no positions gained. Well improved, but I don't think he improved position. P5. He did improve a few positions actually with that. Marginal improvement, only a 10, but enough to see him move a couple of places up. Is that us? There's people down the back end. We've got Grumpy, P14 at the moment, 21.9. All over the shot there in the last corner though, and it's not an improvement for Grumpy either. So that is us. Tom Duval, he had a bit of a nightmare run. He's P15, believe it or not, 23.2. So that is a pretty horrid run there. That's a shock. So Lee comfortably 4.5 tenths. That's a stonking lap. Only one into the 18s. Everyone else in the 19s. Interesting that one. Yeah, well 19.6 there. Feber 19.6. SBY 19.6. Tom 19.6. So yeah, very, very tight there from P4 to P7, separated by 8 100ths of a second. Very, very tight. Great lap though by Andy. P3. That is a very, very good lap. Now the issue with this rolling start round here is that the back end of the if you start at the very, very back, you start before the bus stop. If you start round about P9, 10, I think it is, then you start mid bus stop, which is not the ideal place to start. So just watch out for those that start towards the kind of lower end of the top 10. They might be starting on the bus stop. I say not ideal. Not the best. So Lee is going to get us underway then in a few seconds time. Here we go. Lights out for the first race of GT1 this season. As I say, we've got people coming around the bus stop that have to start on the bus stop. Not the best. Everyone knows. Oh, as Tom Duval already makes a place up on Grumpy. Grumpy's all out of shape. Lee's off. Oh, Lee, a massive wiggle at the exit of turn 1, and Lee's. Oh, he's also picked up a second penalty. Has he clipped the wall? How has he got a second penalty as well? Not quite sure how he's managed that, but the P1 that he had comfortably in quali, he's now P4 and is going to drop down to at least P6 or 7 most likely with that 1 second penalty, because that will cost you about more than a second. As Feber drops back down, Lee gets up to P3. However, as I say, that penalty is going to cost him a lot. So it's Aaron who leads us into the chicane there for the first time. What a shocking start that is from Lee, as Aaron needs to try and run away now, but he has got Andy who is in P2 who's keeping tabs on, and there's already a bit of a gap there developing. Lee P3, and that is going to be not P3 for long for him with that penalty coming up. And the back end of the field then you've got Tom midfield P7, Ross in P8 who's got a gap in front and behind, Carl P9, Graham P10 in the Lambo, Biggles way wide in the Audi there. That might be a penalty, but he may have got away with that. Has he got away with that? Oh, he's got away with it. Pagani P12, Blue Flag P13. Dodges having P12 to P14 at the moment. That's a pretty awful first lap for them. They are way down the order, all three of them. Grumpy P15. So Aaron now has a second, and Lee is all over the back of Andy. However, he's going to drop like a stone in a second when he takes that 1 second penalty. Aaron's away and gone, over 1 second in the lead. Here comes Lee's penalty. Where is he going to drop down to? I would imagine around about P6, 7. So let's keep an eye on SPY, as he's going to see Lee appear now. There he is. There's Lee in front. How is he going to approach this? In towards the bus stop. Is he going to go for a move? He peels to the outside. Lee's going to take the inside line, heading into the bus stop. Brakes slightly later than Lee. Lee gives him the room on the outside, which now comes the inside for second half of the corner. SBY gets round the head. However, T Smith then nips past both of them and is now up to P5. SBY P6. Lee down to P7. Then comes Ross in P8. Carl's in P9. You've got Graham then, and then Biggles, Pagani, Blue Flag, Tom Duval and Grumpy, who's having a little look there at a move down outside. However, we'll jump to Aaron, who's 1.3 seconds out in the lead. That penalty for Lee is giving Andy some breathing room. He's got 8/10 to Fever, who's in the Lambo. Straight behind that, the Audi of Will, or Panda, who is very close to the back of that Lambo. And with that Audi, I think, having a very slight advantage top speed. This could be tight into the chicane here. As Will has a look down the inside, then backs off, thinks better of it. Back in. And Lee goes round the outside of SBY. SBY gives him the room. Lee gets himself past, so Lee up to P6, making that in that position back off SBY. So he's now got Tom in front of him. Well, again, having a look at Fever there. And then we've got Rostal P8, Carl P9. Who's that? That's got a penalty. It's Graham in the Lambo. That's going to drop him. Probably behind Biggles, maybe even behind Pagani. So keep an eye on that. 1.3 seconds still the lead out front. And it's very tight in behind between Will and Fever for a battle for P3. Fever holding on for the time being. Ross P8 kind of taking a watching brief of what's happening in front of him. This very interesting battle between Lee and SBY. I might say that Lee is in a baguette sandwich. He is in the middle of a French baguette at the moment. 2 RCZs in the middle. Well, very close again to the back of Fever. Fever's also picked up a penalty, which will serve next lap. Fever's already under pressure here, as Will tries to go round the outside. That's brave. Oh, he has to back out. That was brave. Yeah, thought better of that. I think there was a few attempts last night. I don't think anyone managed to pull it off. No, to be honest. Oh, Will get a slightly better exit there at the exit of the bus stop, and that has resulted in him being very close towards La Source. Again, he had a look, thought better of it. He's going to try a better exit. Maybe he'll try the end of this straight. Can he? Close enough. Fever has that penalty. 1.7 out front. 19.8 is Aaron's lap for lap 1. So that is a good lap time out front from Aaron. Everyone else in the kind of 20s. He's at 19.9, so he has gained quite a bit. And he's kind of near enough latching on to this battle, which is about to see Will try and go round the outside into the chicane. Fever is going to push him. Fever's going to try and hold the inside. Will thought about it, but decided again he's going around all the way around the outside. This is 11T Smith to close back up a little bit further, so he's now only 6/10, so he's now joining this battle for the final podium place. Fever, remember, has that penalty, so he's going to drop behind both of these, as Aaron's still 1.7 in the lead. What's happening towards the back end? Graham's having a bit of a shocker. He had that penalty, so he's dropped into P13, and he's picked up another penalty, so he's now in P14 probably by the end of this lap, so it's not been a good opening few laps here at all. Biggles in P10, 1.9 behind Carl, who's in a bit of no man's land at the moment. Ross still comfortable in P8. SBY is still fighting with Lee, and he's having a look round the outside, and he has a nudge there. There's a contact that is created there. Lee has to drop in behind, and he has already got a penalty as well, Lee, so he's going to drop behind Ross, and Lee has a big old moment on the power there as well. This is becoming a bit messy here between Lee and SBY. And Lee is going to drop now behind Ross, maybe behind Carl as well, as Carl then takes P8 as well, so Lee drops down to P9. It's going from bad to worse to worse. And Lee P1, now P9. Oh dear. Graham has been overtook by Tom Duval after that penalty. I say Graham's not having the best time with it as well. It's a 20 flat from Aaron, who is still currently in P1. 20 flat from Andy as well. I think that was lag more than anything else there. A lag there. Fever is now in P5 after the penalty. However, Tom has now picked up a penalty. He's set the fastest lap of the race, which is a 19.5. However, he does have a penalty to contend with. We've got Lee, who is directly behind Carlo. However, Lee has a penalty again, so he has another half a second penalty. What is going on here? Having set an 18.9 in quali, so in P9 and having an absolute awful time at the moment. Was that Graham having a look down the inside of Tom Duval? Tom Duval goes in the room. Tom Duval goes wide. Graham tries to pull round the outside, but he's going to have to set back for the time being. Move into the next corner. He's going to go for a dive. He has a look, but then thinks better of it. Sits tight for the time being. Gaps dropped to 1.4 out front. 1.3 there, hovering around actually. So, toing and throwing a little bit. Well, Andy making a tiny bit of inroads. Ross now in P7, so he has benefited from in a Lee fiasco. He was set to get worse before it gets better. Another penalty on the way. SVY now detached from Fever because of all that battling. However, Tom is going to be overtook by Fever with that penalty. So here comes Fever now, who makes the move. Tom backs off. Tom drops down to P5. Fever back up into P4. What's the lap times for this lap? 1.3 out front at the moment. Aaron sets a 1:19.6, so that's a big improvement. 1:19.3 from Andy though, that's 3 attempts quicker, so hence why we're now approaching the 1.2 seconds mark. So we're getting very, very close out front. Now down to a second, as Andy's had a good run. So Aaron's going to be under pressure shortly here if this continues. Andy making a bit of a try at getting closer. Also Will, a bit quicker than Aaron as well. Can Will do anything? He's in P3, in a comfortable P3 now, and 1.2 is behind. Tom now half a second behind after that penalty. SBY has picked up a penalty, so that's going to benefit Ross as well. So 2 Lambo boys going well. Down the field we've got Pagani P11, Blue Flag P12. So still the GTR's not really doing much. Graham's back ahead of Tom Duval. Tom Duval though, with that very quick in a straight line dodge, he's going to try and go round the outside. Graham gives him the room. Tom Duval says thank you very much, takes that place. However, not very good through the corners, that dodge, and they were both all over the shot there on the curb. Then we're going to pick up a penalty, doesn't look like it. But that battle continues. Up the field, SBI instead has that penalty, so Ross is going to jump him. Tom backs off a little bit from Fever, so it was half a second, now heading towards a second. As the gap out front is approaching now, it's less than a second, it's nearly 8 tenths now, so we are getting very close to getting way into slipstream in a time frame. And again, Andy doing well. They are setting a purple first couple of sectors. I say Carl's at an 18.9 last night in the race, which was very competitive. Not quite on that same pace at the moment actually, which is interesting. However, SBY with that penalty. Carl is wide there. So Ross has jumped up to P6 with SBY having that penalty. Who's that in the background? Is that Lee having a look at Biggles down the inside of the bus stop? Biggles gives him the room, but keeps the place for the time being. Lee has to try again. Down in P10 now after that, starting pole position. Now actually Aaron had a better run through the first corner this time, so he's put that gap up to a second. We're on to lap 6. However, Andy did set at 19.111 last time around. 19.4 for Fever, 19.7 for Will, so Fever's actually closing in a little bit on that for Will. Tom not having as quick a last lap, 20.2. Remember 21.1 was when he had a penalty. Had 20.2 though, I don't think he had a penalty. He's dropped up a bit, and Ross is improving with 19.6 last hour round, so Tom might have to be focusing more on his mirrors than the car in front at the moment with Ross coming. Now Aaron very much is going to be keeping an eye on Andy behind. Is Carl having a battle with Lee, so Lee has got past Biggles somewhere, and Biggles has got a penalty in the process, and Lee having a look now down the inside at Puon, and these are teammates, and Carl gives him the space, gives him the room, allows Lee pass, maybe a bit of team orders there. Carl looked like he very much kind of let Lee go there. So Lee has got tremendous pace, just needs to find that poly pace that got him comfortable pole position, and he might still get a top 5 or 6 here possibly. Especially with these guys very close together, could be some battling. Feber is very, very close to Slipstream's kind of position now on Wilt. He is really that 8 temps now, and he's continuing now. He's now in Slipstream kind of range. Feber under 8 tenths of a second now. There he goes. Nice and clean through the bus stop. He might have a chance here in this next lap. Well did much better though for the first part of the bus stop. Yeah, one sense looking good for Germany at the moment. It's P1, P3 and P... Where's the other German team? P11 Biggles, that's Biggles. The Biggles came to town in the second race last night with that same strategy as me with a 4-10-10. We'll see if that's going to be popular again tonight. Now, Aaron's only 6 temps, so something has happened. He's lost a few temps here, so this could be an opportunity coming in a lap or two's time here. The issue he does have is that RCZ is not great in a straight line, so he might have to be kind of make up a different kind of place to overtake than traditional. I'm not sure he'll get past him on a straight line even with slip. SVY second penalty, and with Lee only a second, just over a second behind, Lee will be ahead because that second penalty translates to at least 2 seconds. So yeah, Lee will be back up to P7, and we'll be having a look maybe at Ross. Ross is though very close to the back of T Smith now, so that gap's been coming down. T Smith has not been into the kind of 19s for a while now, so dropping down pace wise. It's out front though that's interesting here on lap 7. 2 and a bit laps to go, and there is a fight for the lead here, as it's only 8 tenths of a second is the gap between the top 2, and it's Aaron in Team Germany and it's Andy of Team France. And it's Aaron who currently holds the position, and it's gained a little bit through that section as well. He's moving away 1.1 second. He's moving away down the field. We've got Lee making a move on SVY. SVY had that penalty. Carl was also going to get past, so that penalty, as I said, even though it says a second, it's a lot more than a second you lose. So SVY back down to P9. Lee making a move back up the field. Where can he get to? Just a good 2 second gap to Ross, so that might be the looking mate here. Tom's back in the 19s, 19.4. Dodgy lap from Feber, 20.2. It's the reverse grid from race 1. It's the race 2 grid. So Aaron at this point is starting last. And that looks very likely now as Aaron 1.7. So mistake has been made somewhere along the lines here by Andy. And it looks like it's plain sailing, barring any mistakes out front for Aaron. Or first race to go to him. What's happening with Tom Duval and Graham still close together. Tom Duval has the upper hand on the straight. Will Graham have a look here? Both set the personal best in the last lap, so they've sped up a little bit recently. Graham thinks about it, thinks against it. Oh, what? Oh, that was. He's let him back through. That was odd. SBY outbroke himself by a good 30-40 metres there. With a black car back through, which is fair play. That was a. I don't think he meant to send that. I think that was a totally misjudged braking from SBY. So yeah, it looks like the podium places are set, barring any drama. All kind of spread out a little bit now. So Pagani is the lead American car, and he's only in P10, so certainly not the debut that they would be hoping for. Maybe this track doesn't particularly suit their car strengths. That the car is very, very thirsty on fuel as well, so not great for strategy wise. So interesting dilemma they'll have to deal with in the race. 19 flat for Ross, so it's the new fastest lap of the race, and he is now well within slipstream range of T. Smith. So on the last lap, is there going to be a move there? Very consistent lap times from Aaron, all within a few tenths of each other, and he is well on his way. Victory here. T. Smith to keep a watch on Ross in the background. Both set their personal best, however Ross becomes quicker. Fever 19.5 last time around. So T. Smith, big improvement through the first sector as well there. However, Ross is all over now, the back of him. He is very much there. What T. Smith could do if is Fever dropping back a couple of attempts and giving him a very nice slipstream which would protect him on this last lap. However, that might be not be in Fever's best interest as well, though, because Fever's teammate is Ross, so Fever will be hoping that Ross will make a move here past. However, it is T. Smith who is gaining on Fever at the moment, so they're all kind of concertining up a bit this last lap. Still fairly comfortable out front though, so an interesting battle here for P4. However, Fever gets away a little bit through that sequence of corners. Then again, T. Smith comes back for this sector. He's now within slipstream. It might be as you were with these, because I don't think anyone's going to have a suitable gap that would result in a possible overtake. As we're going round the final few corners then, fairly plain sailing for Aaron after Lee made a mistake at turn 1, and it's been kind of clear track in front, and he is coming around the final corner now, around the bus stop, nice and easy on the power, and Aaron will take race 1 now. Well done, and Andy with a very solid P2, and rounding out a very successful race for Germany is well in P3, and it is very close between Fever, T. Smith and Ross. However, they're in that order, and at the end it is Carl P7, Lee gets P8, SBY gets P9, Pagani P10, and his big was P11. Sai having a bit of an interesting end to race. P12, it's Graham that actually takes P13, so he actually ended up beating Tom Duval, and there we go, and it's a Nissan who runs out in P15. So yeah, it didn't kind of go as the quali went there, with that mistake from Lee, so it was Aaron that kind of took up the reins there in that one for race 1. So yeah, very very good race from Team Germany there. P1 and P3, Biggles as well down in P11, so that's not bad either. So yeah, they definitely took kind of the advantage there. Also, decent result from the Lambos in P4 and P6. Also, Team France P2 and P5. So actually, France P2, P5 and P9 is a very strong result as well. So yeah, definitely Team Germany, then Team France, then Team Italy. definitely the GTRs and the Vipers that were kind of the losers in that race. So definitely the other three teams definitely had an advantage there. Yeah, Aaron giving a thank you to Lee in qualify on the chat there for turn 1 shenanigans. Yeah, I think Lee will be ruining that because Lee definitely had the pace to be out front there, quite clearly. But if you don't pull out in quality, that can be what happens. Certainly an interesting first race, though. Well, this one will be the more interesting of the two as well, obviously with the strategy element. Right, okay, so probably a few minutes while they set up, because as I say, this is reverse grid. And they can now choose their tyres to start on as well. So there was a tendency last night, I think, near enough, kind of everyone who started towards the front of the reverse grid race tended to start on the mediums, whereas if you started towards the rear, I think everybody, from P10 downwards last night actually started on the hards. And did the shorter stint. Now, benefit of doing the shorter stint, obviously, is you get them out the way early and then you can focus on the medium tyres. The possible negative is it is dynamic weather, so you could have possible rain. Last night, during the middle part of the race, it got incredibly cloudy. It looked like it was certain to rain, but there was no rain ever on the radar, and the rain stayed away for the entire race. So, that kind of hard strategy did work for a lot of people towards the back end of the grid. And you did see, for example, Biggles, who started towards the rear end, won the race. Also, Carl, myself, started towards the end, and we all managed to get up towards the end, and the hards did help us towards the start. However, as I say, if it is a possibility that it will rain some point during the race, then if you've not run the hards by that point, you don't have to. So, there is the kind of dilemma you have. Where you start, what do you decide to do? I know there was some people that were looking at the 4-10-10 that was done by me and Biggles last night, thinking it was the better strategy. However, there are some people that are saying absolutely no chance they'll get 10 laps out. So you also have that to contend with. So some cars will make 10 laps. For example, I think the Lambo can. I think there will be maybe an attempt or two by them. Also, the Audi can. We've seen Biggles last night. I'm sure Biggles probably. I was going to say Biggles might do the same. However, he might not do the same this time because he's starting closer towards the front. Remember, he started towards the rear. Walery decided to do an alternate strategy tonight. So there was people, if you started the hards, the common laps were lap 4, lap 6 or lap 8 is when you kind of came in. If you started on the mediums, you either come in lap 8 or lap 10. Most people, if you're starting on the mediums, know we're coming in around the lap 8 mark. So yeah, lap 4, 6, 8, 10 is where your kind of pit stops will take place. And obviously, if there's rain at any point during this race, tyre rolls go out the window. And obviously that will make things very interesting. However, there is no rain on the radar for at least the first 15-20 minutes, which is what happened during the sprint race. So after that, it's anyone's game. There will be rain possible after the 20 minute mark. But yeah, it's the exact same. It's the same how it was last night. The weather settings will be the same as the sprint racing. So the first 20 minutes will not, I'd imagine, have rain. It goes with the same as last night. Then it will be after that. Anything can happen. You might get rain, you might not. So we shall see. And reminding folk to like, yeah, please do like. Again, this is rolling start, so there will be some people towards the mid-back end that will be starting at the bus stop or before the bus stop. See, I was under that impression as well, Mike. However, weirdly, the wind direction and exact strength is exactly the same as it was in the last lobby when we did the sprint race. So as much as I believe what you said is the case, I don't get why the wind and everything would be the exact same. Surely it would be at least slightly different. So that's my only question on that. Is I thought the same as you, but I didn't get why the wind was the exact same. And it was the same last night as well. The exact same wind and strength was the same for the first 20 minutes of the endurance race as it was for the sprint race. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope so as well, but I'm not quite sure it is a coincidence. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not. If it is a coincidence, it's very obscure coincidence, but yeah, possible. Ricky Grumpy starting us off. He's interesting. He's on the hard tyres, which is an odd. I thought people towards the front would be starting on the mediums. Also, Graham and the Lambo in third is starting on hard. So there we go. We've got Grumpy starting on hards there, taking us away for lap 1 in towards La Source for the first time. Hard tyres will take a while to heat up, and he did struggle to get that car turned down and on the power. And Tom Duval all over the back and in that Dodge on faster tyres, with a faster car in the straight line. He's nearly he's going to go for it off over Rouge and Radion. What is he doing? Why has he attempted that on lap 1? Poor Grumpy's got a penalty. That was odd choice to do that. Oh, this is crazy. This is the 2, 3, 4 in a line here. Tom Duval, blue flag. Graham, P3. Grumpy down to P4. That was a very interesting. Only a few corners. Graham P3, Grumpy P4. Pagani's P5. Then it's Pagani, SVY, Lee, Carl, Ross, Tom, Will, Bieber, Aaron, and Aaron's managed to get past Andy, who's now having a look back on the inside. However, it's actually where it's from. Tom with a very audacious move up Eau Rouge and Radion. I think Grumpy ended up wide and he got a penalty. It was a bit of a mess up towards the chicane, but it ends P1 and P2 for the Dodgers. Graham just in behind. Hard tyres for P3 and P4, mediums for P1 and P2. Biggle starts on the hard tyre as well, exactly the same as he did last night, so expect Biggle's in lap 4. And he's following the exact same as he did last night. He's also about to gain a place as well, with Grumpy picking up that penalty. Pagani is attempting to cut some grass. I don't actually think it's grass there, it's some sort of green astroturf thing. Grumpy directly in front now on hard tyres. And is Pagani going to make a move here on Grumpy, who's on slower tyres? Pagani goes round the outside, side by side for the second part. SPY having a look as well. Oh, there's some nudging going on. Pagani seems to win out. SPY is also through. Grumpy drops down to P7. Biggles has now picked up a penalty. Pagani having a look down the inside of Biggles there at the source, however doesn't manage to pull it off. Grumpy nudged in the back by his teammate there, Lee. I think Grumpy's really struggling on those hard tyres, he cannot get them up to temperature at all. And Tom Duval 4 temps in the lead from his teammate and the other Dodge. Remember, these two are in a car that is very thirsty on fuel, so to be honest, the best possible way of dealing with that might just be Scarpa, get away, try and save some fuel together, work as a team. However, maybe not, as blue flag sends it down the inside. Tom Duval gives them the room. Interesting, I thought they were going to work together. Maybe team orders were in play there, I don't know. That was, but yeah, leading going on from blue flag. What is, I don't know know what is going on there. I don't know what's happening. Graham is in P3s on the hard tyres. Remember, hard tyre runner there. Biggles is fighting with SBY. SBY getting past Biggles. Biggles also has a penalty, so Biggles is going to drop down the order. Grumpy's still in P7 at the moment. He's got his teammate who's also on hard behind him. Carl's in P9 as well, so it's a GTR 789. P10 is Ross in the Lambo, who's also on hard tyres. Then comes Tom on hards. They are all on hards from P7 backwards. As Lee takes to the front of the GTR train. Grumpy lets him go. Will Grumpy then let Carl go, I wonder? He's clearly not confident on those tyres at the time being. We're going to watch Pagani and SBY for the time being, as this was very close to back of Pagani. Biggles has also got a penalty, so he's going to drop maybe behind Lee, who's about 8 tenths behind. Let's keep an eye on this. Lee. There you go. Bonnet cam here. Round the outside. Nicely done. Lee makes the move up. Biggles having issues here with his Grumpy, sends it down the inside. Dodgy. I don't think Biggles really knew what Grumpy was doing there, because Grumpy, I felt like kind of half committed. He didn't fully commit to going down the inside, and I think that kind of left Biggles in a bit of a limbo mode of where he was going to actually go for it or not. Oh, Grumpy's all over the shot again on the exit turn 1 of the source. Also, Tom is all over the shot as Ross gets past Carl and gets rid of that kind of GTR pattern that was going off. Also, Biggles is now in P8, so he's got some moving to do back up the field, back where he was. Ross making good moves there, P9. Carl having a look then, also picks up a penalty though, Carl. I think that must have been at Orange Radio. Tom's got a second penalty, so that's going to be incredibly costly for him. So yeah, Ross is P9, but he's right behind Biggles. There's a bit of a train here developing. I don't think any of them are going really full speed here at the moment. They're all kind of getting held up. Grumpy, bit of a train developing behind him. Carl having a look there at Ross. Ross also later on the brakes. Not actually looked up front for a while here. There's been so much going on. It's blue flag in Tom Duval. Graham's 4.3 behind. However, bear in mind, Graham's on the slower tyre, so you need to take that into consideration. They're actually, weirdly, they're all kind of similar on fuel out front. SBY has the most in the RCZ. Ross doing well on fuel as well at the moment, and Ross is going for a move on Biggles round the outside. Biggles gives him the room. Ross all the way round the outside, somehow held onto that there. He's now got Grumpy directly in front of him, so he is making moves up the field as Ross. Same with Lee, who's now in P6. SBY and Pagani going side by side. Both of these on, I was going to say both on hard tyres, no they're not. SBY's on mediums. So Pagani in the Dodge, which is quick in a straight line. The SBY in a RCZ is not anywhere near as quick in a straight line, however has the advantage on tyres and fuel. So SBY has to sit behind for the time being. However, SBY goes for a very wide line, tries to get the best exit, and Pagani doesn't get the best exit. SBY has got a bit of an advantage here. And is he going to try it? Pagani, that straight line speed, doing well. Pagani then takes the inside line, takes a defensive line. SBY takes a wider line, sees if he can get some good exit. Tom Duval picks up a penalty. Not what you want. Pagani P4 still now, SBY P5. SBY having a look though at Pagani. SBY pulls out the slipstream. He doesn't want to pull it too early though, because that is a very quick car on medium tyres. But Pagani brakes later, defends the line. SBY tries to use that cornering ability to effect, but can't really find a way through. Lee's getting interested in this as well. Then comes Ross directly behind. So Ross on the hard tyres. This might be when you see some pit stops. Grumpy down to P10 as well makes a move. Down the back end of the field, you still have Aaron, Tom, Andy, and also Feber. However, look at the difference in fuel here. Feber has got a lot more fuel than the guys around him. So expect Feber to jump some people in the pits, even though he's right at the very back of the field. That was my strategy as well last night, and it worked. You can jump a lot of people with fuel. People are pushing flat out, just save as much as you can. Graham doing well as well, saving some fuel. He at the moment is looking good for solid result. He's got a big old gap behind Pagani and SVY. Lee's there as well now, so Lee's right behind him on the hard tyres. We know how quickly he is in qualifying. Can he redeem himself after his exploits in turn 1 in race 1? Now, is anyone going to dive into the pits here? Is there going to be an early stop for the hard tyre runners? Who's going to do it? Is anyone going to do it? None of those guys are doing it. Ross is not doing it either as well. Biggles does it again, exactly the same as he did last night. Biggles dives into the pits, gets rid of them early. Feber also. I knew Feber was planning on doing that as well in the Lambo. So Feber, as you can see as well, has 5 litres extra fuel. So that's a good nearly 2 seconds. That will help him. Now Tom Duval with that penalty drops way behind as blue flag. Now it says 20.5 last time around, so solid lap times. A few of those pit stops has kind of helped spread out the field a little bit. The Peugeots are team tagging with the fuel situation, trying to save a bit. As finally Biggles and Feber make their way out the pits, both on medium tyres. Biggles has a penalty as well, and Feber is managed to cut that gap, so you can see gain 2 seconds by having that bit extra fuel. Also Biggles having a penalty, so watch out for Feber and Biggles. They will gain from pitting early if they can make up some time in those medium tyres, while a lot of people are in traffic on hard tyres. As you can see, exactly the case here with Pagani, and SPY is being held up a treat here at the moment. He's on medium tyres and he's not getting the benefit because he's been held up an absolute treat by that dodge and this frantic movement there, trying to find a gap. Very, very wiggly. And Lee is all over the back of them and just looking nice and pretty there in that GTR. Also Ross coming into this as well in the background. Taking a bit of a watching brief of this. Might not want to get too involved. That's a very, very competitive looking time by Ross as well. You just noticed these 6 temps up on his 21.7, so that's he's on for a low 21 or a possible 20 on hard tyres. That's an exceptionally quick time. That's only half a second. Sol and blue flags running on mediums out front on clean air, so that's interesting. As Lee goes all the way around the outside of the bus stop. That again is a very ballsy move. They're going side by side at the exit. SPY holds on. Lee has to sit behind as Ross does sit at 21.5 there. So that's a very solid time. I think he lost a bit of time there with that battling was going in front of him. Probably didn't want to get too involved in that. Yeah, battling it on up and down the field at the moment. Blue flag's got a nice gap out front though. And he's doing well. However, I don't know how that strategy is going to pan out with that car, as it gets very tight here as Aaron and Dusty Fossil, Carl, I know Rouge and Raddy on there, very close together. All of these runners are on hard tyres, and Aaron's right in the slipstream now of T Smith as Carl's having a look, coming back at Aaron. I say all on hard tyres here, so this is no tyre offset really with these guys. As Carl has a look at going round outside. Tom is making a move on Grumpy there. Grumpy has the inside line for the next corner, but Tom's going to go all the way around the outside, and then Aaron's going to have a look round the outside as well. I think Aaron's got Grumpy here round the outside. Aaron brakes later, tries to hold it round the outside, and he looks like he's done it. He has. Grumpy drops into P11 then. Carl's in P12. Then you've got Andy. These are all being held up an absolute treat, and while you've got that, you've got Biggles and Fever cleaner on the medium tyres. That's the benefit of doing that undercut. You might have to save some fuel, but you get out of that traffic. As Graham now P3, 21.5 on hard tyres. He is having a storming old run as well on the hard tyres at the moment. Tom Duval struggling now with a penalty situation. He's fairly decent time. However, I must say his tyres look pretty worn, especially the fronts. He is getting through those tyres. He's chomping through them. Which is not going to be great later on. As Ross is in P6 now, SPY on medium tyres has not seen the benefit at all, and he's picked up a penalty, which means, well, on hard tyres, jumps him as well up to P7. This is going to be a pit stop lap for a lot of people on the hard tyre, so let's have a little look who is going to dive into the pits, who's on hard tyres. There we go, there you have it, Graham into it, P3, he dives in from lap 6, Pagani also, hard tyre runner, Lee, hard tyre runner, in you go, lap 6, SPY, who's on mediums, carries on, Ross, Will, all on the hard tyres, comes in. Interestingly, Will a tiny bit more fuel, so he might gain a little bit. Carl carries on, he did that last night as well. He don't think he pitted till lap 8. So again, he is doing the same strategies last night. Graham with a little less fuel than, for example, Lee. Will did the most, he still had 40 litres, whereas Andy 37 litres. Whereas Aaron is not usually the best on fuel, so I think he'll be doing maybe an 888. However, the thing is, will an overcut work for these boys in the hard tyres? I'm not so sure. Now, interestingly, Tom has got at least an extra 5 litres on fuel than Aaron. Aaron's, well, admit to himself, he is not the strongest on fuel. Now, where do all these people come out? Now, Graham, who did that pit stop there, is coming out in P7. Now, Feber has gained a decent amount here. He's now in P9. He has got Will behind him, but he has gained quite a bit. Remember, he was at the very back of the field. He's jumped Will, he's jumped Lee, he's jumped Pagani, he's jumped Ross, he's jumped Andy, he's jumped Grumpy, he's jumped all of those places by pitting early. He will have to fuel save, but it's whether he will get more of a benefit from getting that track position. Now, he's going to have to try and keep an eye on Will behind him, who might not be doing as much fuel saving. He might be revving it out a bit more. We've got Carl, who is still out in those hard tyres, who'll be going to lap 8, I'd imagine, who has a penalty. You also have Tom and Aaron in P4 and P5. I say Aaron's not getting anywhere near as much fuel, so expect him to drop a bit. SBY finally getting a bit of benefit from those medium tyres, however, still not really making any inroads. The Dodges out front have a monster gap now, however, they are yet to pit and will be going on to lap 8 at the very least. Don't know, Blue Flag might be able to, the look of it, get another 2 laps out of this. So maybe do 9 laps and then get a shorter 6 lap stint of hards at the end. Or obviously, if there's rain, then that goes out the window. That's down the field. How's this going? Fever, well, all kind of in a nice orderly line. And Aaron and Tom carrying on to lap 8, so they are doing 888. Very competitive times on the hards there, 21.2, 21.3 respectively for both of them, so good job there with the times. SPY, for example, 5 times slower on medium tyres, so that kind of shows you the difference, how good that hard tyre is performing at the moment. SPY, wiggle. That is not the quickest way up there, and you can see he lost a ton of time, at least 3 tenths there, compared to his teammate. So yeah, and he also still has the hard tyre to run, remember, if there's no rain. At the moment, still looks fairly sunny, not much in the way of clouds, no real concern at the moment, so it can change very quickly. Graham P7, he's already had a pit stop. Fever, Biggles, all of these guys all done pit stops already. Biggles, fast lap of the race is a 20.2. Remember, he's on medium tyres. He is having a bit of advantage early on. He's got his tyres nicely into working range now. Nice temperature. Do a bit of fuel saving. Interesting to see what strategy works best. So, where are these two going to come out now? They had a big old gap. However, they are now losing time. They certainly didn't manage to save as much fuel as some of the other guys, and they also still have the hard tyres to run, so you need to bear that in mind. Things won't kind of become clear until the last pit stops, probably lap 18, 19. Last people make stops, and then you get to see where exactly people are. Definitely think that, for example, your Graham, Biggles, Phoebe are all in a very good position, well included Lee. They all seem to be in a good position at the moment. Blue flag 2.1 in front. I must say, they're on lap 9 now. As SB White comes into pits, he's doing 88 by the look of it, so's Tom, so's Aaron. As you say, that's that 5 litre fuel difference I mentioned between Tom and Aaron. Yeah, that for only having done 8 laps, that Dodge's tyre wear looks pretty mean. Still a full lap to do. I mean, it's still very manageable, however. You see the difference. As Carl, interestingly, on hard tyres, has went for a 9th lap. Now, usually you don't want to stay on hard tyres for any longer than you need to, and it's interesting that Carl's going for a longer stint on it. Now, Graham's doing very well then, keeping tabs on Biggles. Phoebe doing well as well. He's got a second gap back to Will, so they're all doing quite nicely, and they're all in a line here. Lee, Pagani, they're all sticking with each other for the time being, so we'll see where these kind of pan out towards the end. Now, blue flag will be in this lap. He went for that lap 9, and I did say if he could do 9 laps, he will literally be running on fumes by the end of this lap, though. Especially Tom, who is less than his teammate. Yeah, the Carl's interesting, yeah. So I think Graham is going to be in P3 once Carl goes into pit stop. Where the guys in the top 2 come out, I'm not sure at the moment. Graham's a bit wide there, I'm not sure. He's a bit too wide. He's got away without getting a penalty so far. The thing is here, is it in the interest of Biggles to just sit in this kind of range, save some more fuel? Because remember, Biggles pit early, so he's got to save he's got to get 10 laps out of these 2 stints, which he managed last night. We both managed that last night, so that shouldn't be too much of a concern. However, this will help save a bit more fuel. So here comes blue flag and Tom. They actually still had 4 or 5 litres at the end. Not enough, obviously, to run all laps. So we're going board with Graham. We're going to see roughly where they come out at the end of this. Once again, they're all kind of in a nice orderly line. No real battles at the moment. Now Carl finally comes out of the line. That was an unusually long stint on hard tyres. Interesting. Now Graham, here we go. This is where we find out where they are. I actually think they might. I think it looks like they're going to jump them, because blue flag and Tom will fill up to the top. Now it's whether he's in a deep. It does seem to do that line though. I'm not sure if that's just his choice of line, Graham. Interesting if it is. But yeah, actually, interestingly, blue flag has come out ahead of Graham. Tom Duval has come out ahead of Graham. However, interestingly, blue flag has went for hard tyres. Tom Duval has went for medium tyres, and interestingly, they are now basically on a similar place in the road in terms of they've got the same fuel, Tom Duval and Graham. However, Tom Duval has yet to run the hard tyres. So Graham is in, when it comes to tyres, is in an advantage here ahead of both of blue flag and Tom Duval, I would suggest here, because I feel like Graham should close up to the back of blue flag with a tyre differentiates. And also, I don't think Graham will have to save as much fuel as the boys in front of him. So Graham's in a really solid position here. So is Biggles. However, Biggles has picked up a penalty. Feber's also somehow managing to keep this massive train behind them at bay, which includes Well, Lee, Gary, Ross, who are all on similar strategies. Ross is in the wall. It's all went pear-shaped for the Italian team here. Fortunately, Ross loses a good 15 seconds, that looked like there, and he is regained his composure now, and he's back on the field. However, that's a costly mistake there. Oh, as Lee gets past Will's picked up a penalty as well in the process, so Lee's up to P6. Lee slowly creeping into things here. He's got Fever in front of him. Will's going to drop down. That was a very costly mistake. He's not only lost Lee's position to Lee, he's also lost the position to Pagani now as well. So costly that from Will. Now Ross has now got Tom in front of him. Aaron, I think it's fair to say, his strength was always going to be in the sprint. He's not the best when it comes to strategy in terms of fuel and tyres. He's down in P14, so, and he's on a similar strategy to Tom, who's about 5 seconds in front of him. Aaron has a look at Grumpy there. Haven't managed to get a move yet. Now back up into the lead. It's 1.3 seconds between Blue Flag and Tom. So Tom is gaining on Blue Flag. Graham is gaining on Tom and Blue Flag. So gaining a little bit. They're all closing up nicely here. It'll be a 6-lap stint, I'd imagine, for Blue Flag on those hard tyres, and it'll be another 9-lap stint for Tom, and then a 6 lap at the end for him. Graham in a very, very solid position. Biggles has got a second penalty, which will drop him way behind Fever and Lee, so that's going to be very, very costly. Now Fever is, remember, doing that different strategy to the people behind him. Also that, because he's doing extra laps, that tyre is much more noticeable, particularly on the rears, which is the issue with the Lambo. The fronts don't wear too much. It's you can see the rears aren't pleasant, whereas the GTR is much more of a front car in terms of wear. The Lambo's very much rear based wear, so it's still a difference in car handling. Biggles definitely will drop behind Fever. At least I imagine he'll drop behind Lee as well. Now Lee is all over the back of Fever now. Fever still has 3 more laps after this one to do until he comes in for his stop. So yeah, we're going to be able to keep him behind for much longer. Now Biggles, this is going to be costly. I think it will be cut out somewhere beside Pagani. As you can see now, he drops behind Lee, and he is now directly in front of Pagani. However, Pagani will have the run on him, and Pagani has a run down the inside on Biggles, and also Will's having a look at Biggles. However, Biggles is going to try and hold it around the outside possibly. That is his teammate, so Biggles very, very costly. He was right behind Fever, and he's dropped behind Lee, Pagani and Will, just from a 1 second penalty. So that 1 second penalty is over 2 seconds. Very costly, you want to avoid them at all cost. Aaron sets the personal best there, 21 flat. Grumpy also personal best, 21.5. Here we go though, here is the battle we're looking at here. So Graham had a dodgy lap last time around, so that's why he's dropped off a little bit. 21.9, which is way off his pace you would expect. He's been running at. Tom Duval running nicely on a 20.3, and he is now going to swap positions. Team orders in play there. Tyre difference. There's no point holding Tom up for the time being, and yeah, the Dodges are taking advantage of this reverse grid here. They are performing very, very well, as Lee has got past Fever. Now we're having a look at that move. Yeah, poor Fever has now lost that position. He's doing that difference in strategy, and it did work out to move him ahead of some people. However, now you just have to contend with the fact that other people will have less fuel seems to do and less wear. So it's a bit of benefit in terms of track position. However, you then have the try and defend from people. And Lee is very quick, as we've seen from his quality time. So Graham is right up at the back now with blue flag. So that was to be expected. Blue flag, hard tyres, and he will be not the quickest on those hard tyres. Go to Graham, who's on medium tyres. Now this is going to be the change, I'd imagine, into the bus stop. Blue flag should be able to still run, I'd imagine, full throttle all the way around here. He does. Good run though. The blue flag. I think he might stay in front here in this bus stop. However, Graham will be passed sooner rather than later, I'd imagine. Graham definitely does do an interesting line into that corner, and he's got a good run on him here. So this isn't going to be, is he going to wait here? The issue is that Dodge is incredibly, the Viper is incredibly good in a straight line. So to get the real overtake on a straight line, you need to be right underneath. And I don't think he's quite close enough. You can see Blue Flag still actually moving away. Oh, they were both a bit out of shape there. I must say though, Blue Flag didn't have the greatest run. He's trying to break the toe. Graham is now seeing a bit of benefit. Still not quite close enough though. You see the difference in the top speeds of those cars there. You can see Graham is now pushing Blue Flag around the corner, and he needs to try and be smart here. That car is much better through the corners, and this is where you could get a move in down the inside here. He has a look. This is really, really important for Graham's race here. He needs to get past this car as quick as possible, and the issue is Blue Flag is incredible at defending, and also that car is very quick in a straight line. Now, is he going to send it down the inside? I think he's going to have he's having a look down the inside of Puon there. Blue Flag also not having the best run through Puon, and Graham is being held up an absolute belter here by Blue Flag, as you would expect, and he cannot find a way through. I'll have a quick look for you. 6.9 seconds, 7 seconds is the gap there for you. The Joker's asked for that. So Graham right behind. Oh, is that going to be a penalty for Graham? He was wide. Oh, Blue Flag. He's off the track. That's it. He's picked up a penalty, and also that's going to be Graham. Is it going to be Graham through? Because Blue Flag still has the faster car in a straight line. Even though he did that. Oh, Blue Flag sliding. Graham's having to take a void in action. Is Graham going to nip down the inside? He's going to hold it round the outside. He does do the long way round the outside. Blue Flag's going to try and defend. Graham's going to hold it round the outside. Oh, good move from Graham. That was a really good move that from Graham. Fever's dropping down the order. He's lost a place to Pagani. He's now under pressure from Will. He's trying to go round his outside. This is Fever's pit lap, so he's got one lap to do here, and then he's into the pits. Now Fever is going to hold it around the outside, but Will's going to try and get a good exit round the outside. Both of these cars fairly similar on the straight line, so this is going to roll on all the way down to Oro's Radion and up through the straight. We're going to keep an eye on this then. Will P6, Fever P7. Oh, that's all over the shot there from Will. That might be a penalty because he was way out of shape that there from Will. Is it a penalty or has he got away with it? I think he might have got away with it. Now, here we go, that Audi. Tiny bit more straight line speed perhaps. Trying to go round the outside of Fever. And Will's going to try all the way around the outside. Great move again. Fever with those rear tyres. Struggling a little bit now. And Fever drops down the order. He's down to P7. However, he's in this lap. So that'll be music to his ears. Now, Biggles is also going in this lap. To be fair, they do have similar tyre wear. Actually, I would say Biggles is actually very slightly worse. So, tyre wear between that Audi and Lambo, pitted on the same lap. Actually, the Audi's is slightly worse. Oh, there you go. Interesting to note. Down the back end there, Ross is P11 now, so Aaron's P12. Not quite sure what's happened to Tom. He's had a couple of dodgy laps in those medium tyres, and Aaron's been much quicker and has set the fastest lap of the race, which is a 19.9, which is the thing with Aaron. He's very, very quick. However, it's the thing with fuels and tyres that Aaron struggles on. He's very quick, but in terms of these strategy races, as he tries to hold it, great move against Ross there. Lovely moves here, lovely battles. Tom Duval 3.5 seconds in the lead. Graham is now comfortably ahead. Blue flag is now being team orders in play there as he gets overtaken by his teammate. Now the Dodgers are having a cracking old endurance race at the moment. However, I don't know whether they're going to filter out because Blue flag is still running those hard tyres, and he's now being overtook by Lee, and all of a sudden that hard tyre is really costing him, and he's dropping left, right and centre. Now the issue is here for Lee is that car's quick in the straight line that's alongside him, and there we go, Blue flag pulls back ahead as Fever and Biggles come into the pits. Now Fever manages to see a lot more than Biggles, so that's interesting as well. Now Wells having a look at Lee here, as Lee had a bad run, there we go, and Lee is going to have to, I think, set back. Are they going to go side by side? No, Lee's going to back out. That was sensible from Lee. You do not. Oh, Will's very wide. That's going to be a penalty for Will, I would imagine. Yep, there we go. Will picks up a penalty. Messed up the line there, and that's always a penalty. Blue flag gets away. You can see the difference in straight line speed as well there, as Blue flag's absolutely flown away in the straight line. Remember as well, Blue flag has literally near enough no fuel as well, so that car will be incredibly quick in a straight line for the moment. It'll be pretty awful through the corners, but yeah, a straight line. Now the interesting thing here with Graham is he's coming into the pit stand of this lap. Him and Tom Duval, similar fuel levels. Tom Duval has to run the hard tyres. Graham is in the best position here. He is currently, I would say, the favourite for the race win. Pagani is on course for P2 at the moment, I would suggest. Blue flag could be round about P3, however, it's interesting to see where Lee filters out. Now Lee's got a penalty, so as well. This is your kind of top 6, I would suggest. I think these will be top 6 on the road. It's what order? Remember, you do have to consider Fever and Biggles. Now again, they have done the undercut, so they will get an extra benefit here over this undercut lap. But then at the end of the stint, again, as we noticed, Fever's going to struggle a little bit more. Again, Pagani, you notice on that Dodge, front tyre wear isn't great. Rears, not too bad. Fronts, yeah, not perfect at all. Graham, tyre whisperer. Rears aren't great on the Lambo, however, he's managed to nurse them to the end of this stint, and he's going to be in now for his last stop. Tom Duval joins him in the pits, and it's going to be about a 4-second gap when they come back out. However, as I said, Tom's going to be in hards. Now that's also interesting. Tom underfueled after his first stop, and he did a short medium stint, which means he's now going to be doing a 9-lap hard stint to finish his race. So Tom is I think Tom might struggle to finish top 5 if I'm honest here. Because of that, I think Tom's going to really struggle in this last stint. How slow that hard tyre is going to be. Everyone else is on medium tyres, and he's going to be having to adjust to that hard, which is, especially for the first few laps, not great. Now Lee carries on for an extra lap here while everyone else is in the pits. Now Carl is in P4. He's very out of sync though. The same with Tom and Aaron, they're kind of out of sync. Everyone else. Let's say Lee doing that extra lap's interesting. Maybe trying to avoid the traffic, going for the overcut, which is interesting. Weird, because the undercut seems to be quite powerful here. Going for the opposite, or trying the overcut. Now Fever, where is he going to come out? Now, Graham, his teammate, is now coming out of the pits directly in. Oh no, he's not directly in front. He's quite comfortably in front actually. Fever is down in P10. Now he is now racing the cars in front, which is Blue Flag, Will, Pagani. This is where they are. This is who they are racing. This is 4-track position now. They're on the same strategy. They're all going to be chasing after Tom Duval, who is on hard tyres and is at an extreme disadvantage, having to do 9 laps on hard tyre while everyone else is on mediums. Now this is going to be your battle for the race win. It's Tom Duval versus Graham versus Pagani, Will, Blue Flag, Fever, and Lee when he pits. Now interestingly, after a bit of a shocker in the sprint race, the endurance race has seen the Dodges, all three of them in with a slight chance of winning, so definitely a great recovery from them. Interestingly, the Peugeots have had after a great first race. Andy has pit now, he's done his last stop and he's in P12. He's now racing Biggles in front of him. Similarly, you've got, it's Tom who's also on the other Peugeot, and he is also not having the easiest run. I don't quite know where they're going to come out. I think they're behind this bunch. Now, Tom Duval has lost 1.5 seconds already, and this is not even at the end of the first lap. I think that makes it quite clear to see how much Tom Duval is going to lose. Now, Carl carries on. I remember I said Carl was going to lead this race for a few laps. He is very much out of sync with the rest of the field. He's not in a net P1. Lee is going to be first to come out of the pits. He will be behind Tom Duval, he will be behind Graham. He'll probably come out behind Fever, I'd imagine, but he'll have fresher tyres in which to attack. You can see Lee now still filling up. He needs to get to about 80%-ish. Now, Lee is out. Oh, Lee's at... Was Lee underfueled? Oh, Lee has underfueled slightly and he's actually jumped Graham. Now Graham has now got the run on him. Graham is going to jump up to P3, but Lee, interestingly, choosing to underfuel. So that is an interesting strategy from Lee. Now he has made P4. Made up to P4. Now that's very interesting. He's now going for the race win with Graham, who are both gaining on Tom Duval, who is in the net race lead, still in that Dodge. However, he's got a long way ahead of him on hard tyres. Very interesting from Lee, who chose to underfuel. He's going to have to do quite a bit of fuel saving to get to the end. However, he wanted track position. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, Biggles, P9, remember, he is now racing Tom. Now interestingly, there's now a Peugeot 10, 11, 12. Now remember I said he had a great race 1, however race 2 hasn't really worked out. Andy going very wide there. So yeah, toing and froing between the different races here. Now Ross, unfortunately, after his Biggle crash where he lost 15 seconds odd, that would have put him in the battle with for the race win, but unfortunately he's now way down the order. Oh, Lee's off. Lee had, oh, and also he came straight on directly in front of Pagani. Don't know Lee could have done much, to be fair though, but yeah, Lee went off. He's back on track, but he's now 2.6 behind Graham. Remember, he's still got fuel saving to do as well. Well, Graham is now 1.5 seconds behind Tom Duval, who has now picked up a penalty as well. So Graham might not actually have to get past Tom Duval at this rate, because Tom Duval's picked up a penalty. So Graham can hold off overtaking Tom Duval. He's going to get the race lead without even having to overtake him. Graham is in the net race lead of this race at the moment. If he can keep at that gap, interesting, Graham started on the hards. He couldn't manage the 4.4.10. He decided to do the 6.8.8. It's paying off at the moment. It's Tom Duval struggling on the hard tyres, picks up a penalty, and here we go, Pagani making a move on Lee. Straight line speed here. Are they going to try and do a dual move on Lee? Lee's going to try and hold off from Sai. There we go, from Blue Flag, and he manages to hold off in time being. Now, this is an interesting battle here between Pagani, Lee and Blue Flag. Lee and Blue Flag, both great at defending, and they're both side by side, so this battle could linger on for all of eternity. I suspect. We could be going for hours and hours with these two battling each other. Will P7, Fever P8. There is a big old gap behind, which is then we've got the Peugeots, which is now being interspersed with an Audi in the middle, who is now beginning to struggle. Remember, everyone around him is doing one lap less than the same strategy did last night. Not quite sure it's had the same effect as last night. It worked great last night, however, quite sure it's worked as well tonight. Yeah, he's still hanging on in P10 at the moment. And you've got this big old cluster in front. As Carl comes in for his last stop. Here we go, Tom Duval loses the lead. There is a new race leader in Graham, who is now going to go out of slipstream range. And Tom Duval is going to be smothered up by the field. And as I said, I thought he would struggle to get top 5 in this race. I think he might struggle to get top 6 or 7 in this race. Because Tom Duval is going to drop like a stone here on those hard tyres, as everyone else is going to catch up. He's got his teammates coming up behind him as well. Still going to be a great result for the Dodges though, as he sets the 20.3 Pagani. Tom Duval struggling on the power there. Pagani under 7 temps. Is it going to be this straight, or is it going to carry on? Pagani's only 1.8 behind Graham, interestingly, so Pagani can sense a possible race win here. Now, does Tom Duval get out of the way as quick as possible? It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's staying there for the time being. It's not going to help Pagani. It will help him during this first part. However, Tom Duval, very, very wide. He's all over the shot now. And it's this sector here where he doesn't want to be directly in front of him, because he's going to struggle. Tom Duval lets Pagani go. 1.7, 1.6 behind Graham. That drops to 1.8 there as Graham gets a good run. Can Graham hold off Pagani? I think Pagani might have a little bit more fuel saving to do than Graham as well. So Pagani has to bear that in mind. He's got fuel saving to do. Lee then in the background in P4. He's now directly behind Tom Duval. Again, that should be fairly straightforward. Tom Duval on slow hard tyres now then, and he doesn't seem to be enjoying them at present as well. As Lee tries to go all the way around the outside, he's going to struggle to do that. But he then tries to, goes wide, tries to get a cut back. He tries then to go down the inside, Tom Duval, and I think he might have this here as they go through the fast corner then, and blue flag then gets past his teammate as well. Tom Duval dropping like a stone here, and we've got Will trying to get through as well. This is becoming messy here. Tom Duval is back in P4 for the time being. He's going to try and hold it. This could end in disaster as they all go around Blochmont. They're all nudging each other, and Tom Duval somehow has held P4, and in the same, blue flag nudges his teammate, and Will gets P5. He's nicked ahead of Simon. Tom Duval struggling, and I see Feber is getting in the act, and Feber's managed to jump blue flag. So Tom Duval not letting his teammate through has now resulted in blue flag, not only not getting past Tom Duval, but then losing 2 places as blue flag sends it down the inside of Feber. Feber half saw him coming and kind of let him have the room, so he gets back past Feber. Well, that's all going out front. Graham sets a personal best, a 20.1, and he's now 1.5 ahead, so Pagani eking closer. There's still a full 4.5 laps, 4.5 laps to go. There is a big gap behind Pagani now, so it's either going to be Pagani or Graham, you would imagine. It's going to win this race. It's going to be one of the two of them. Tom Duval struggling again. They're struggling to get it turned in. Well, all over the back. Yeah, you can save a lot in that Lambo. I did the same last night in the Lambo. You can save a lot by just short shifting and coasting occasionally. Like, you really can. It's nowhere near as bad as fuel than I think some people thought it might be. Will gets past Tom Duval there. Tom Duval dropping down the order. I said he'd struggle to get P5, top 5 here. He's now in P5. and he still has 2 cars behind him, but then he has T Smith, who's done a 19.9, who's catching all of these guys in front of him as well. So don't rule Tom out. He's only 7.8 off the lead, so he's got a chance to make up some moves. And he's bringing along SBY, who's on... Does SBY run hard tyres? I'm not sure SBY's ran hard tyres. Did he not start on medium tyres? Then he did medium tyres in the middle block as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, the 3 Peugeots have come into it a little bit now, after all the pit stops. They are in a nice P8, P9, P10, and a French trio, as Tom Duval is going to get smothered by the field here, as T Smith is now caught up with Tom Duval, hops over the exit of the bus stop. He is all over the shot, Tom Duval here. Tom Duval might get lucky if he finishes top 10 at this rate at the moment. He is dropping like a stone through the field in that Dodge. He's been smothered by everyone. Look at the entirety of the field. They're all so close together. The top 9 drivers are within 9 seconds. You see SBY all of a sudden has woken up and is set at 19.3. Where's that been? Where on earth has that come from? A 19.3. Blue flag's picked up a penalty as well. That's going to give T Smith the run. T Smith has got past Feber. Out front it's 2.1 seconds. So Graham is dealing with Pagani for the time being. Although Lee is making moves here. Lee 7 times quicker than Pagani on the last lap. Such an interesting racing strategy, this one, and it's not over by any means of the imagination. 10 seconds covering the top 9. Blue flag, half a second penalty. That's going to drop him behind T Smith, maybe behind Feber as well. Remember, Feber from that extra lap, he's going to struggle a little bit on tyres towards the end. He's perfect on fuel, it's going to be tyres for him. 13.7 covers the top 12. How at the end of 21 laps is it that tight? Might be the tightest endurance race I've ever seen. This is crazy. All the different strategies have worked out, and somehow everyone's ended up on the same piece of track. Look at them all. Look at the mini map. They're all coming around the same corner. Unbelievable. Pagani then is now only 6 tenths ahead. Pagani's dropped to 2.7 behind. Graham has this sewn up. No mistakes from Graham. He's got 3 laps to go now. This could be over here if he keeps it clean. Will's having a storming night. He finished P3 race 1. He's now in P4 race 2. So Will's had the best overall consistent night here. Tom Duval somehow holding on P5 at the moment. However, I don't know how. T Smith P6. Remember though, we've got blue flag P7 now behind because of that penalty. You can see right there, Aaron at the back now. 12.5 seconds. 19.7 sets another personal best. They're all catching everyone else. Look at them all in a row. It's like a slipstream fest. And a line, it looks at the start of the race. How close they all are, it's ridiculous. Tom Duval then is going to struggle here as he's got T Smith all over him. The only saving grace he might have here is how quick that car is in a straight line. Because he's got an RCZ who's pretty hopeless in a straight line behind him. Tom Duval, you can see he's literally, T Smith has gained 200s on that straight. It's not exactly a short straight, is it? Either. So interesting, that one. 2.5 seconds out front. It's fairly comfortable. Lee's dropped up a bit from the back of Pagani. Oh, Will's very deep there. Long right hander. 19.8 for Will. Also a personal best. They've all suddenly woken up, as I think the wind direction is decreased as well. The strength is decreased, which is why you're starting to see the times, I think, get that much quicker. I think they're getting used to it as well. Steve Smith has a look down the inside at pull on. Again, though, didn't manage to find a way through. So he has to sit back. He's literally pushing him around the corner as he has a look down the inside, and then he darts to the outside. Tom Duval is doing a mighty job here, keeping a massive cluster of, what, 7 cars? No, 6 cars behind there. And it's a bit of a tight last few laps coming up here. SPY penalty there. Is that going to drop him behind his teammate, who's rapidly catching up? It is. That's going to be messy, especially with Aaron. He gets past as well. Oh, it's messy into the... Oh, Aaron's having a look at Andy as well. SPY trying to come back at Aaron down the inside. Aaron picks up a penalty. SPY nudges his teammate in the process. Aaron then goes down the inside. So Aaron got that penalty then. That's going to probably drop him back behind SPY. Oh, blue flag sends it on T. Smith into La Source. Then T. Smith gets him back. Tom Duval, meanwhile, still in P5. Graham 3.8 ahead. Pagani has been caught by Lee, who's now only 4 tenths behind. There's 2 laps to go. We've got a battle for P2 and P3. There's a battle for P5, which is now... T. Smith is now just ahead. Tom Duval making back up with the slipstream. They're frantically moving from side to side, trying to get slip. Tom Duval, is he going to go back round the outside? No way, is he? Oh, T. Smith goes deep. Oh, he's off the track. Tom Duval then goes back in front. T. Smith is going to pick up a penalty for that though. He's just literally like streamlined to go. Both of them have got a penalty. Tom Duval also. So they're both going to drop behind. Somehow Blue Flag and Fever are going to jump 2 or 3 places here. What on earth is going on? Oh, Aaron's got a penalty. So is SPY. 4 of them have got penalties this lap. T. Smith, Tom Duval, Aaron and SPY. Biggles having a look at SPY. Oh, Biggles all over the shot in the background. Graham's just wondering what the fuss is. He's 4.8 in front. Oh, what's that? How is Will now 2 tenths behind Lee? What's happened here? Look at this battle for P2 now. There's now a freeway battle for P2. Tom's in P5, but he's got a penalty. Tom Duval's P6, but he's also got a penalty. Pagani's still holding on at the moment. Lee's having a look round the outside. Is he going to go all the way around the outside? No, he thinks a better of it. Oh, they're all over the shot though on the exit. Will's having a look as well. Lee's having a look. It could be free wide into the bus stop. Oh, Will thinks better of it. Unbelievable. Oh, Will. Oh, he got it. He was losing it there. On to the last lap. 5.98 in front for Graham. It's still as you were. Somehow between P2 and P3 and P4. I don't know how. Tom Duval's dropped down to P7. Aaron somehow has come out of nowhere here. All this fighting and is now to P8. Feber is back in P9. Tom Duval still clinging on for dear life. He's got the least fuel out of all of them. He's on hard tyres. He's got everyone chasing down. He's just set a 24.2. All of a sudden, how slow they're going all of a sudden here. As they're all fighting. Picking up penalties. Aaron's going to get him, you would think, here. He's in the slipstream. Tom Duval takes the inside line. Aaron's going to have to go the long way around if he wants to go. But then he switches to the inside. He's going to send it down the inside. Tom Duval out in the inside. Aaron round the outside. Tom Duval's lost it. He catches it though, and Aaron takes the P7. Then goes Tom Duval off. Fever next by takes P8. So Tom Duval loses 2 places. He's down to P9. Then comes Andy trying to get him back as well. So Andy tries to get round as well. Tom Duval loses 3 places in a space of 2 corners, and all of a sudden it's down to P10. And it might be further damage as they're all clustered together so closely. Graham's 6.5 seconds out in front as Lee has a go at Pagani now after 2 on. Round the outside Lee goes. Lee having a look, can he get him? Oh no, he can't find a way back through there. Thompson P5, then it comes Blue Flag, Aaron, Fever, Andy, Tom Duval down in P10. It's all went wrong in the last lap. He did a stellar job trying to hold on for dear life. But while all this chaos has been unfolding the last few laps, he's away and gone. Graham, absolute sterling job. 6.88 was his strategy. 6.6 seconds in the leads. And he comes round the bus stop to take a very dominant victory in the end, up 6.6 seconds. Graham in the Lamborghini takes P1. Lee has nicked P2, but Pagani gets him back on the line. Pagani takes P2, Lee takes P3, Will takes P4, Tom takes P5, then comes blue flag, Aaron P7, Feber P8, Andy P9, Biggles P10, SPY P11, Tom Duval P12, Carl P13, then comes Ross in P14. Grumpy comes round, he's going to be the last one across the line in P15, and that was possibly the most chaotic and hard job that was to try and commentate on that, because that was utter chaos at points for the last 4 laps. Oh my dearie me. What a race. Need to lie down after that. Right, there we go. After 24 chaotic laps, it is Grumpy who rounds us out at the very end. It's Graham who takes the win. It's Pagani P2, it's Lee P3, it's Will P4, and it was less than 4 tenths covered P2 to P4. Somehow Tom came out of nowhere at the end to nick P5 ahead of blue flag in P6. Then came Aaron in P7 and came into it towards the end. Feber managed to hold out doing that 4-10-10 strategy in P8. P9, Andy. P10 was Biggles. SPY found pace at the end to take the fastest lap of the race and finish P11. Tom Duval, it all went wrong for him at the end. P12. Carl P13. Ross P14, what could have been for Ross if he hadn't made that spin? He probably would have been involved in that chaos towards the end. Grumpy rounds out in P15. So there you go. Aaron takes race 1 and race 2 was Graham. Well, with the double... Was it double podium? No, not double podium. P3 in race 1, P4 in race 2. Definitely the most consistent of the night. He might be leading the championship, actually. That could be a possibility at the end. What a race 1 that was. Unbelievable. Join us again next week. We'll see if it's as good as that. That will take, hard to beat. We are around Tokyo next week. I think it's south clockwise, memory serves me correct, which obviously is the GTR's week. They are the Japanese cars, so it's their double points week next week, so they'll be wanting to do well. Lee, very, very competent in that car. Didn't go quite all the way for him tonight, the way he kind of wanted, but yeah, keep an eye on him next week as well. So thank you very much for joining me. I don't know if it'll be me next week. Can't remember if I'm working next week. Might be me again next week. If it is, then I'll see you next week. If not, then I'm sure we'll find someone else to comms next week. Thank you very much for joining us for the first race of Season 29 GT1. Have a nice day.